The situation at Spurs is oh so wrong. It's all part of Phoenix and Levy's gone. A world-class stadium, second-rate team. Spurs are winning nothing under this regime. Together we need to shout, Levy and E, Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and E, Nick out. Intense are filling their coffers to the brim. The football forecast looks so grim. Spurs last cup win in 2008. Unlike a proper investment, it's what true fans hate. Together we need to shout, Levy and E, Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and E, Nick out. Intense of filling their coffers to the brim. The football forecast looks so grim. Spurs last cup win in 2008. A lack of proper investment is what true fans hate. Together we need to shout, Levy and E, Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and E, Nick out. Project Youth, just another Levy feast. Dismantling Spurs history piece by piece. The stadium, just an entertainment hub. No true fan wanted this for our club. Together we need to shout, Levy and E, Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and E, Nick out. Legendary Bill Nick would turn in his grave if he knew how the owners now behave. Corporate greed and no success. We need to work together to get our club out of this mess. Together we need to shout, Levy and E, Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and E, Nick out.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tottenham Away, your favourite Spurs entertainment platform in the universe, and you know it, the best place to be on a Monday night. Welcome, good to see you all. We're back. It's been a while. Kind of missed it, but I haven't missed Spurs, if I'm honest with you. I've missed the boys. I've missed the people in the comments and the banter. I've got to say, I feel like a new person when Spurs don't play. I feel fresh. I feel happy. I feel happy, man. It's ridiculous. Everyone in the chat, thanks for being here. Smash like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all the usual good stuff. Thanks for being here once again. Iggy, how you doing, man? We're back. Another show, another week, another Monday.
Another week. No football to talk about other than the fact that England are on as we speak. But all is good. I can't complain. And big up JP for the shirt. Love it, man. And yeah, I hope everyone out there is all good. Everyone's family's all good. And JP's cracking up about something. I don't know what's happening, JP. What's happening? You're cracking up. Everyone seems relaxed and like smiley.
Good, man.
And it can't just be a coincidence that Spurs haven't played and everyone's come on here smiling. So
you know what though? I went yesterday and saw Spurs, and I'm gutted you wasn't there, Iggy, because the boys got done. Your boys got battered. Absolutely.
That's my word. Do you know what? I look. I'm getting rich now. I'm getting rich. Do you know what? Do you know what? It was. I had the tickets. I was due to go, and as it turns out, I went to watch my boy play his match in the morning, and they won their game. They had to win their game, and the rivals were playing. The second in the league were playing away at the same time, and we just needed them not to win. So a loss or a draw would have meant my boys' team won the title. So we were waiting 10, 20 minutes, half an hour. It got to about 12 o'clock, and I'm thinking, Joe, we've got to go to the game. We've got Spurs, Milan legends. We need to start going to the lane. So we're driving we're literally on the A10, making our way to the game. We get the call that the rivals have lost their game 2-0, meaning that we're now champions. And all the parents chat, them team game, all the parents, that's going off. Champions. Everyone, let's go to the nearest pub, blah, blah, blah. My son's now looking at me saying, I'm like, what the Legends game? And he's like, and he goes, I can't. Everyone's going to the pub. We're celebrating. We're champions. We just won the league. Now you tell me, as a dad, like you got to say, right, all right, son, no problem. You ain't gonna miss that. I've done a detour, turned the car around, and went back towards Hertfordshire to go and join the boys and the parents for a drink and celebrate for a bit.
I definitely would have done
But
that,
yeah, I'm gutted because the plan was to see you guys and to see you there, JP, and obviously watch a few of the Legends game, and it was shitloads of goals. So I missed quite a few. I missed a few Legends out there, but there'll be other occasions. I imagine. So
Iggy,
yeah,
do you realise that your son has won more trophies than Spurs in the last 2 decades?
There we go.
Just saying.
Big up, Joe.
Big up, Joe. Big up to the league champion, Joe.
Yeah.
Got a quick super sticker from Will. Big up, Leon, Mr. William Leon, as always. Hope you're doing well. JP, you good, bro? Did you win any trophies this week? Any awards?
Do you know what? I was nearly in tears yesterday. The joy in my face. I had a front forward team watching Spurs of Keane, Berbatov, Defoe, Lennon. It was like
it's just bringing nostalgia back. These boys. What?
First touch, Aaron Lennon took the player on, zipped down the side. It was like, look at that. He's done that in 2 minutes, and he's probably still faster than BJ.
It's insane,
mate. I tell you.
Do you know what? It's insane how what?
Who would you pick? Honestly, who would you pick? Brennan Johnson or 49-year-old, however old he is? Listen, Lennon looks in good shape for his age, though.
Still ripped. Great. Do you know what? With all these his issues with the mental health and stuff like that, it's great to see him in good spirits, smiling, and you know what, he was playing. He had a really good game. But you know what I really enjoyed, boys, watching because I had it on my phone. I was watching it via YouTube, and the old patterns of play that they still remembered from training, and they even said it. And it was great.
What I was going to say, Iggy.
Sorry, mate. Sorry. But you know what, though? Even with them mentioning it after the game, we'd already spotted the patterns of play.
I said in the group, didn't I? I said, it's amazing that, like, just watching that flat back four, couple of holding mids, playing it out from the back in the midfield, going out wide. It was lovely
to remember. Still remember all of that.
The ball was awesome. Eunice Kabul was awesome. Even Ledley King. Like you go, you know what? I would probably still wouldn't mind him just marshalling the back there,
Even though everything was played at walking pace.
Of course, you had about
3 hours to think about what they were going to do. It was it was a really nice event, wasn't it? It was.
That's nostalgia. Nostalgia in one picture. It almost looks photoshopped, like an old photo with the new kit, but you realise actually no, they're played in that kit.
What it made me realize
one thing from Iggy, from Milan's perspective, Pirlo, mate, what a free kick!
Listen, you may get old, but these are things that these guys are. They used to do it, practice it over and over again. I read somewhere that Pirlo used to, after training sessions, you'll get the third goalkeeper to one side and stay with him for the next 30-45 minutes, and he would just have like 20-30 balls around him and he'd just be pinning them over and over again. Just repetition. Yeah, just repetition. So when even if you notice the way that clip, I know that everyone's seen that clip, it's just the way he takes it. It's almost like it's effortless. It really is effortless the way he hits it. But it generates so much power in such a short. It's literally a dip and over, and it generates so much power. And what made me laugh, they've done a reaction video today to that free kick. You get to see Worms applauding. You get to see Sandra, which is what I sent you guys because I clocked that straight away. Today, Tottenham, the actual website, the social media actually picked up on those reactions.
Oh, did they?
It's for yeah. Sandro one actually still makes me tear up laughing.
What was really telling as well in that game was how a few of them, you know, they had 2 good feet, hit it left foot, right foot. You know, the control. Okay, fitness, and they were slow. You know, certain players, but some of those boys were nearly 60 years old. I mean, how's Sheringham? He's got to be.
Teddy Sheringham's 58, right?
Yeah,
Maz,
you know.
Maz, Falcao was there, right? Mark Falcao. Right?
Still better than Werner.
The ball came up. Ball came up like that. He lifted his foot and touched it and just brought it down.
Mate,
Berbatov bringing that ball down was quality. But do you know,
that was Werner or Johnson. It'll bounce off their toe. They'll be chasing it, trying to keep it back on the pitch, and then miss kick it. Or you can't teach. Once you know how to ride a bike, you don't forget how to ride a bike. Yeah, that's what it is.
It was a friendly at the end of the day, but it was really enjoyable just to watch.
Enjoyable friendly. A lot of players brought nostalgia back. It was for a really good cause, and you know, charities generate all that money for charity. Would have been brilliant to have. It would have been brilliant on one side to have Gascoigne and Ginola play, but it wasn't to be, or even Klinsmann. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, at different ages, people get different injuries and stuff like that. On the other side, a bit disappointed in some of the Milan other stars.
There wasn't. Apart from Perlo and Cafu, there wasn't really anything.
Normally, they have more involvement in, but they weren't there. But other than that, look, it's a great. I'm really excited to have both teams playing at White Hart Lane and not be there. Is gutted, man. But what can you do? Certain things.
You want a cup? Your son won a cup.
just to make it fair, I haven't actually asked Maz how he's doing. So Maz, how are you doing?
Maz, how are you doing, Maz?
Winning in life, mate. I don't need no trophies. I've won in life.
Do you know the best reaction yesterday? Because Iggy was talking about reactions, and no one's mentioned it, and I will mention it. And when I see him, I'm going to mention it. Sim from We Are Tottenham TV. He looks so happy, enthusiastic, laughing.
I saw him and Ben afterwards. They were right.
Say, Sim, for a guy that loves Ange and defends him at every opportunity, when Ange isn't there and we're not playing Ange ball, you look like a new man. You look like a breath of fresh air, Sim. that was the best reaction.
Did he enjoy the game as well? Did he? Yeah.
He was doing vlogs with Ben. They were laughing, joking. Mate, they look like new people. Like no weight on their shoulders, no pressure.
Do you know what? Though? It is. Look, go in there when you're going to watch a match like yesterday and see so many players. Like I said, rightly so, legends. And just to see them out there, and like Maz rightly says, man, the pace might be gone, the legs might be gone, but
it brings back loads of memories, though. Loads
the
of
class is permanent.
I
mean, with the fact that we get excited about someone trapping a ball and bringing it down, we get excited about things like that. And someone scoring a free kick at White Hart Lane, I mean, we get excited about things like that.
No one does that. No one does that in this team.
No one does that anymore. When was the last time you see a free kick fly in?
Here's a point, actually, and I'm being serious.
When's the last time you saw anything decent?
When was the last free kick we scored from outside the box? Who was it? Was it Maddison?
I think Maddison scored one. Was it this season?
Yeah. It was this season.
So in 2 seasons, we've seen one. Is that correct?
That's what I mean.
Wow, that's
as far back
what,
as
what about wingers? What about wingers crossing the ball perfectly? just a wide player getting across in the box.
Once that we've seen that happen once.
You know, just wingers being wingers. And do you know what? Watching a game of football,
cartwheels on their score.
Fullbacks not inverting. There's no inverting anywhere. There's a number 6. We played with a 6. Like.
And Sandro scored a banging goal as well.
Yeah, he scored a good goal. Yeah, Defoe, man. Defoe. Do you know what? Defoe's still got it for a striker. He's still, and Keane. Them two have still got it. You know, fair play to him.
I think Keane. I think the Keane's legs have gone. If I'm honest. I don't think he's, he's
carried a bit of upper body weight.
Yeah, he's had a few beers in it before the game.
The cartwheels, man. Still doing them cartwheels. there was one only exactly.
Mate, I guarantee you, he pulled a hamstring after the game though, doing that.
100%.
Do you think though?
Alan Nielsen, he took a tap, didn't he? It was literally like the lightest of taps on his back of his leg, and you could tell he just got absolutely.
I thought he just fell over by himself from what I saw.
Do you not feel though, guys, that they could do like, maybe not every week, but do you not feel that they can do some sort of league? Obviously not 11-a-side pitch. Maybe, I don't know, maybe make it a smaller pitch or something. Do some sort of like, I know there's been a Masters League and 5-a-sides and that, but do you not feel that they can do something like that?
Yeah, I think
they can. They will have like a pool of 50 players, and they can just have a.
You know that Masters League. I remember watching that.
Mate, I'd watch
a couple of decades ago, and I was like watching like Hoddle play and Waddle and stuff like that in the Spurs team, and I was thinking, wow, this is brilliant. You get to see them use some really good skill close quarters, and you could. I mean, Hoddle in that 5-a-side tournament in the wow, what a player! Honestly, what a player!
Can I just say, Jimmy, it's just a weird question. What trophies did the Legends team win? Didn't Keane, Berbatov, and those guys win the Carling Cup in 2008?
They did.
They did, didn't they? Yeah, Jimmy, I don't understand this question. Unless you're a new Spurs fan, you don't know the history. I don't get it.
Well, look. At the end of the day, it's not their fault that well, you could say it is their fault, but what did they expect under Daniel Levy?
I don't think I'll be reminiscing about this current crop of players in 30 years' time if I'm still around.
What the worst season in the history of Premier League?
In the same way that I'm doing now about having Defoe and Keane and Berbatov and stuff like that.
The level of player, and this is why we've been the way we've been, why we've been whinging for the last couple of years, is just the level of players just dropped drastically. When Van der Ven comes in the team, a 21-year-old defender that no one's really ever seen, and we're thinking, wow, he's our best player. And the rest of the 24-man squad is like, nowhere to be seen. And you've got problems, really, haven't you? If a young kid comes in and is your best player.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one young player to watch out for. The Greek young lad who scored against Scotland. Brighton have signed him. You know that. Brighton signed him. He's going to be a player. Brighton have got a knack. They've got a knack of finding these players.
Mate, 70. What a great goal, man! Left foot, proper top bin. 17-year-old making it on his debut as well at Hampden Park. That was a good performance from Greece, man. They lost at home 1-0, and then went over there and turned it 3-0.
He's 19. He's 19. Brighton already signed him. He's a good player. Brighton have got a knack of finding talent, and then they do well. Then they sell him on 2-3 years later. I think he's going to be a good player for them. So, yeah. Let's see. Do you know what?
Finding talent and ruining it, right?
I'll tell you what. Whilst we're talking about the youngsters, there's a lot of talk at the moment that Ange might not be here next season. Right? We'll see what happens. I personally don't know. Some people say if he loses the Europa Cup, if he gets knocked out and we finish 14th, he's done. I'm not convinced. I hope he's gone, but I don't think that will be the case. But a lot of people are talking about another manager, and I do want to discuss. I know it doesn't matter. Levy's here, Enoch's here, but we have said another manager plays a better system and maybe can get a better tune out of the players we've got. So I want to go through the manager and just discuss what we think. So the one at the top of the list that everyone's talking about is Andoni Iraola. He's had a great season there.
Hold up. Are we allowed to talk other managers? I'm fearful that we could be annoying someone and we could be called "See you next Tuesday," middle fingers up. I don't want to get into all of that stuff, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to start talking about other managers and then.
Look, can you back the team, please? Just back the team, all right, Iggy?
Otherwise, go and support Man City. Yeah.
I just want to give a disclaimer. If we have this conversation tonight, and anyone else in the chat, we may be slammed on the internet for about 4 months with daily videos from.
Yeah. All I'm gonna say to that, remember,
this conversation comes with a risk. There is a risk.
Remember just one thing, guys. All I want everyone to remember is one thing. It is just opinions, man. It is just opinions. You know, no one's gonna come and take the bread out of your mouth or tomorrow, anything like that. Or anyone's gonna be, no harm is created by just giving opinions, and that is all it is. For whatever it may be worth, but we have to find a way to pass an hour and a half together and discuss something. So why not talk about something that? What else are we gonna do?
That is
just
opinions right now, right?
There is a caveat as well. Okay, you're allowed to slam Mourinho. You're allowed to slam Conte. You don't have to back the team. Then you're allowed to destroy Eric Dyer with videos.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to back him, but right now you must back this crop of players and this manager. Otherwise, you're not a Spurs fan, right? So if we change manager, you're allowed to tell them the next manager. That's okay, but this one means you're not a Spurs fan.
You have to don't forget. If you advocate for mental health, then that's all right for them to slam people affecting their mental health. In one side, you advocate for it, saying I'm behind it all, and blah blah blah. You have all the sentiment in the world, but then on the other hand, you slam those very same people that advocate for it. Slam it. So that's okay to do as well. By the way, it's no problem whatsoever. The levels of hypocrisy just like keep going.
I need to write these rules down.
Yeah. It's fine. It's fine as long as you advocate mental health and say I'm all behind it. Then on a different occasion, you can go and slam people for that. That's absolutely no problem because you've caveated. He said, "Oh well, I'm a defender of mental health, but then I'm okay to
also no refunds on super chats, especially if we shut down the channel, then come back a week later."
Upon spreading it, and also lastly, before we move on to Andoni Areola,
we're just setting the ground rules so everyone knows.
We've got to establish the rules. There's rules to this. We've got to make sure everyone knows the rules.
There's rules, baby. There's rules.
Listen, next Monday, just let everyone know we're shutting down for 1 day. We're telling the world we're shutting down. We're going to raise £1,000 of super chats for everyone saying, guys, have a drink on me.
And remember,
wish you the best, look after yourself. And then on Tuesday, we're going to go live. We're going to be back on Tuesday.
Talking of Tuesday, you can say, see you next Tuesday, however many times you want. Calling someone, see you next Tuesday, however many times you want. Slam them. Middle finger as much as you want, but always end your videos with peace and love. Remember, as long as you do that,
all right,
peace and love to you all, but call someone, see you next Tuesday, however many times you want. That's all of that is absolutely fine. Slamming everyone for having a difference of opinions, that's absolutely fine. And for a team that's had 15 losses this season, just get behind them, man. Just get behind them. And if you're not going to do that, go and support Man City.
Yeah, just Man City though. You can't support anyone else.
No. It's fine. City. Come on, man. What we doing here? What are we doing here? What?
Listen,
I think the point. You made the point.
It's communism.
We made the point.
It's socialism.
The rules have been set.
It's a dictatorship. This way or no way.
Honestly, I mean, guys. Honestly, when all is said and done, it's only opinions. Anyway, Andoni Areola.
Always look on the bright side of life.
I just want to end by saying, if I offend anyone tonight, I'm sorry. I've got mental health matters, so please, I'm sorry. Andoni Areola, he's the main talk amongst the Spurs fans. He's the one that a lot are saying. He gives them Poch vibes. That's what people say. He gives people Poch vibes. There are a few that say, yeah, but look, he's had a couple of injuries and they're losing games. What's he done that's so special? We're not going to get an elite manager again. We're not going to get a Conte, Mourinho, Ancelotti. We're not going to get those names. We're not going to get those household names. So we've got to go for managers that have got something about them that we think suits us. Out of everyone, I think Iriola's my favourite, guys. And the reason is he's proven he can work with youngsters and develop them. He's getting a tune out of players that no one really wanted to touch before, like Cook, Christie, Tavernier, Kirkes. What he's done with the young lad Hussein at centre-back is superb. He got the best out of Solanke. The only season Solanke was actually good was under Iriola. He plays a system that suits Solanke and suits our players. He does play with some cover for the defenders. They don't all invert, and the fullbacks play like fullbacks. And for Porro, Spence, and Udogie, when they were at Sporting Lisbon, Nottingham Forest, and Udinese, they actually did well in that role, which is why we scouted them. So the whole thing to me makes sense. Do I think we'll win trophies with Iriola? Probably not, because I don't think we'll win trophies with anyone under Levy. But we're just talking about how we get the best out of this squad. Iriola's my choice, guys, if we could get him. I think he's young enough as well to be dynamic enough to not be stubborn and adapt his ways. Ange does seem to be quite stubborn. And I think that is an age thing, by the way. I do think that is something of an age thing. So what do you lot think on Iriola as a replacement for Ange? Do you think he's proven himself enough, or do you think what's he really done?
Is this his second year, or is this his? It's kind of like a year and a half, isn't it?
Second year and a half. Just to let you know as well, when he was in Spain, he took over 2 teams in Spain and got them to their first ever semi-finals of cups with lower level teams. So he's got a habit of punching above his weight, a bit like Poch, punching above his weight. He's got a habit of doing it. And he's never been given big money to spend. He's never had an elite crop of, or really, really good crop of players. He's had to develop them and progress them. But listen, guys, when people say it's Poch vibes, there's a lot in that. There's a lot in that when they say it. So...
Look, I like him. Sorry, Debbie, go on.
No, I was just going to say. I mean, I would say if he was in the Premier League a little bit longer, I would probably advocate for that. Right? I don't know if he's just here. He's obviously turned it around at Bournemouth, done extremely well for Bournemouth, who they're like up there, and irrespective of where we are right now, they are playing some nice football. And as all of those good things that you said. He has turned it around. He has got a lot out of young players and stuff. But again, I don't know if it's because he's just come here. And it's like, you know, when people work out a manager and stuff. That's my only apprehension about it. And if I had to choose out of the current crop that are out there, I'd probably go more for Thomas Frank because he's been here a few years now. He's established himself in the Premier League. He can also get enough out of some of the young players that are there, and he's quite adaptable, you know. So that would be my choice, but that would be the only reasons I'd be skeptical about Nduni.
For me, look, Iraola is an exciting manager, and you're right. The Poch vibes, I get it. The only concern I have with him is the amount of injuries. I mean, after us, I think he picked up quite a lot of injuries in his team, and I'm wondering if it's the same madness going on in training. I don't know, man. For me, if there's an opportunity to bring Mauricio Pochettino back, I think we should explore that the most.
We're going to come on to Poch. We're coming on to
yeah,
Poch.
I do. For me, I know you say Ariola, you say Thomas Frank. For me, if there is an opening to get him back, I would, because I feel that there's unfinished business. I don't know whether we'll go into to win trophies or not, even with him coming back. I just feel like he never. It's just unfinished business, and I feel like he should complete that circle. But having said all the above, whether it's Pochettino, whether it's Ariola, whether it's Thomas Frank, bottom line is if under this ownership, under Enoch, under Levy, I just feel like every manager that comes to Spurs will be doomed until they're gone. Eddie Howe, I did mention for him as well in the video I did for for the Spurs games. I mentioned Eddie Howe, but Eddie Howe's got a good thing going on at Newcastle. Now that they've
Iggy,
won
I
that
haven't put him
cup.
on the list tonight because I just don't think he's going to leave Newcastle for Spurs.
Yeah, you know, he's got something good going on at Newcastle. And to be honest with you, I think Iraola's got something good going on at Bournemouth. I don't feel like his cycle at Bournemouth is over. Yeah, of course.
But we're a bigger club.
If a bigger club comes in, then I'm sure he'll think about it. He'll think about it for sure. But I think his job at Bournemouth ain't quite done. I think he's got him in a good place at the moment. But I feel he's got him. I think he needs another season. In all honesty, for Iraola, I think he needs another season there, and then he might be ready to take the plunge. That's how I feel. But Thomas Frank is different because he's been at Brentford. If anything, now he needs to move on from Brentford. I think he needs to kick on from there because he's been there a few years. So completely different situations there. So I get where JB's going with his thinking.
Southampton, though. Poche did 2 years at Southampton before we took him.
Yeah, I just feel like Iraola's got another season. But look, that's not to say that he can't move on. But you know, then you got Marco Silva
and do well as well. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so,
we're going to get onto the others. We've got a few.
But I just see what's happening with the USA national team. You know, they lost a couple of games. I think if the opportunity for Pochettino arise, I think he would take it. And you know, you've been seeing pictures of him meeting up with Livia Adley Wood. I don't know if it's just a casual coffee having together or whatever. And you know,
nah, that's got to be a lot of bull crap, isn't it? Like they'd sit outside and have coffee.
No, I don't know, man. I don't know. But then you also take into account what Pochettino has said. You know, he always says
what he said on TalkSport and stuff's different.
He was picking up his NFL tickets. He got a couple of NFL tickets to take his family.
All right, whatever the reason was, that you see those pictures, then you hear what Pochettino says. Pochettino, every opportunity to say is, I would love the opportunity to come back at Spurs. He sees it in his mind. He sees it in his mind coming back.
Didn't he? He has said that before.
And I think, like I said, if there's an opportunity to that you know.
We're going to come on to Poch. What Iraola, guys? Would you have him? I 100% would. Would you guys take Iraola, or do you think like Iggy's maybe not quite ready or needs another year?
I think that I don't think he could handle it at Spurs.
Really?
Yeah, I think the pressure of being at Spurs with our expectations, the environment, I think that would break him. Marco Silva might be a little bit more resilient to that because he's been around a few more clubs, and he hasn't been successful really apart from Fulham, but he's grown as a manager. I think Thomas Frank may be able to handle the pressure better than all of them. He's quite an intelligent guy, but I think he's been tactically outdone one time too many for my liking. As a manager. So I'm not sure he would bring the right football to Spurs where, you know, we'll probably get a scenario like we did with Mourinho and Conte, where all the fans are like, what is this football? Not that we're playing good football now. I think we're playing some of the worst football.
They're doing that now.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, they're so deluded now that they're just backing him even though we're playing rubbish football. So it's really weird.
We scored a good goal against Hazen Altmar. It's all okay.
See, you asked this question. Well, we always talk about this, but
it's true. One goal against Hazen.
Yeah. You asked this question a couple of months ago, and at the time, I think I said Marco Silva, but I've changed my mind. I don't think Thomas Frank, Iraola, or Marco Silva would be good for Spurs. I think if we're going to go unknown, young, and fresh, then I would take a risk and get someone like Carrick or what's his
Maz, hold this thought because we're going to come on to let's move on from Iraola, right?
Yeah.
The next one on the list that everyone's talking about is the return of Poch. Now, as Iggy said, he did mention I've got unfinished business there, but that does mean him working under Levy again, and we know how that ended. He did have Harry Kane, which he won't have now, or Prime Son, but listen, he had Rose and Walker. Well, you've got some good fullbacks that could maybe be developed into those type of players. He had King and not King, bloody hell. He had Alderweireld and Vertonghen, where he's got Van de Ven and Romero. Potentially, he could evolve them. He had Hugo Lloris, He's got Vicario, another good shot stopper. So the foundations for a Poch team with a Maddison, maybe get a tune out of Odebert. Could he actually do something with Basuma and do something with Bentancur? Who knows? But the foundations are there for a Poch team, aren't they?
Yeah,
a lot of youngsters. Wall, Gray, Mikey Moore, Lancashire, Scarlett. There's young players that he could develop as well.
One of the amazing legacies that Ange has brought to Spurs is, aside from us losing record amounts of games and playing some of the worst football we've ever seen, is he's managed to make every single player that he's managed worse, really. So that's quite an amazing achievement. So someone like Pochettino, he would most definitely improve players if he's there long enough, for sure. I mean, we saw that in abundance with Pochettino. He made average players really, really good. And I think like Porro and Udogie would absolutely flourish under a Pochettino system, and he would make them probably good defenders as well, like he did with Walker and Rose. Because let's not forget, I mean, Walker was, I guess, was coming good, but he really took a step on when Pochettino came, and you know, Pochettino was the first to get a tune out of Rose and turned him into the left back that he became, you know, under Poch. So I would have high hopes for the fullbacks. When Ange goes, I think Romero's on his way. I think he's already laid out his stall that if Ange goes, he's gone. So
I think it's before that. Man,
yeah, no point. There's no point. You know, Romero is going to go, so no point talk about him. But you're right, Stel. The nucleus is there for him to come in, and I would hope that if Pochettino did come back, that Levy would have to swallow his pride and actually listen to him this time round. And there's no point Pochettino coming back for 2-3 years. He has to come back like he did before for a good 5-6 years. If he does that and he gets the players he wants, then
key point.
That's the problem.
Key point.
That's you know, because he's not got what's his face there. You know?
No one gets the players they want.
Yeah. If he does, because he turned it around at Chelsea. Let's be honest, he went to Chelsea and they were a mess, and he got a tune out of them. You know, once they got over that first
towards the back
10
second
games,
half of the season, back
like
season,
their record was phenomenal form-wise near the end, absolutely phenomenal. And
they got to a cup final and a semi-final as well.
But also, I feel like, to add to that, I feel like he would stop players that are probably linked to be leaving this summer. Some of the, you know, our best players that we have in a squad could be linked elsewhere. But with Maurizio,
Romero's Argentinian, so is Poch.
What I'm saying is, someone like Pochettino could put a halt to that. You know, you could say, "Hang on a minute, let's see what's going on here." But I feel like if we confirm,
sit down.
Yeah, Mexican. But I just feel like we got quite a few South Americans in that team, so I think that would stop that. And you know, the young players like Van der Ven, you know, I feel like if we confirm Ange Postecoglou again for next season, highly unlikely. I do believe it's very highly unlikely, but if we do, then I think we could be facing quite a few players that be looking to get away.
Facing relegation again. That's what we'll be facing.
I don't know. I don't think we'll get relegated. I just think.
You see our form this season.
Listen, I've said many a times that we have been playing like 15 losses and stuff like. We can't listen. Who in the right mind would risk having a repeated season next year? I know that people will say, yeah, but we've had a lot of injuries and this, that, and the other. No, I'm sorry, man. At the end of the day, we've had too many of these situations. Injuries that just don't happen. Look, it can. Listen, to a certain degree, there is a level. You can be a little bit unlucky with it, but the constant, it's been really constant throughout the season and continuous. And players have been brought back, rushed back, re-injured again, and it's just been, you know, and we've had we've had more injuries than losses. You know what I mean? Literally, it's just been continuous. And for me,
But
and you can see there's discontent in a camp. I don't care when anyone tells me. We saw the images of Maddison and talking to Son on the sidelines. We all saw that. There's players in that team that are not happy, and
we've been
which is
saying
why
that for since last season.
body language don't lie.
And the thing is, if Ange stays for next season, if Romero and Maddison, who else?
Madison, Van der Ven, Bentancur. Those are the players.
If any of the if any of those players stay at Spurs with Ange next season, then they're losers, and they deserve to have a shitty career, because that's the type of mentality that you know that makes you mediocre. Let's put it politely.
You wouldn't want to risk a repeat of this season again next season.
I mean, Ange is incapable of changing and adapting, and I've seen a lot of chat whereby they're saying, "Oh, but he hasn't. He's changed. He's inverted. They're not inverting as much, and maybe one inverting going up high." And the thing is, you might see an odd passage of play where that happens, but it's not consistent, and he always reverts back to what he knows. Ange, he wants the team to to play a certain way, and he's unwilling to change. So if that happens, then and the players like it, then and they stay, then we've got no hope.
Anyone else picked up on the mood, by the way, from how we started the show to where we are now? How completely it changed. How quickly it all changed from that Legends game to Postecoglou.
I think
this is Sim. It's exactly what Sim was like at the Legends game. There's another manager, Marco Silva.
Still, really quickly, the only thing I would say is that as much as I would like Pochettino to come back, I honestly don't think it would be a good idea for him to do it while Levy's here. Because even though he'll be given a couple of years, Levy knows what his levels are, how much he can push him by. He already knows that, right? He can promise him the world. He can tell him he'll give him players, yada, da, 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 whatever. And Poch should learn from that. And hopefully he has learned from that, right? Which I think if he comes back, and if after a year it doesn't go well, I don't want it to go sour again. And I could feel that happening. Because, as I said, I think Levy knows what his levels are. And he'll just push him to that. Levy will literally buy himself another 2 years by getting Poch in, if that was the case now. And then he'll be out.
There's one thing, though, JP. There's one thing that Maurizio Pochettino has a lot of love from the fans. Not all of them.
Half of them wanted to kick him out recently.
Yeah.
Again, they were all shouting for him to get out, which is why he ended up leaving. And again,
there's a lot of fans. There are a lot of fans right now who are saying, and I know the YouTubers that are doing it, who are saying get Poch back. They're the same ones that wanted him out.
No, yeah.
They're the same ones that handed him out and now saying bring him back.
Listen, I totally understand, Iggy, the fact that he went through two free windows or whatever without getting players signed. He went through the whole pain of like us getting into the Champions League, getting to that place, and then getting no one at the back end of it and stuff like that.
2 seasons.
So there were circumstances for where he was with the squad at that point in time.
Yeah. But there was everyone before he left, JP. Before he left,
and blamed them up there. They all picked on the manager.
Before he left, there was a contract situation from Ericsson, Toby Alderweireld. We went into the season not having sorted that out, and then when we for a terrible run of games where we lost some in that European game. I think was it in Zagreb or something like that where we lost, and it was just mounting, and there was discontent in the camp, but because of he wanted certain players' contracts sorted out or shipped them out, and we didn't do either of them. And then we went, like you said, no players signed. We put them in an impossible situation
and that's what I'm saying is that the fact that yes, everyone will want him back now and stuff like that, but I think he'll get treated the same way if he came back without that guy in charge.
And even
If
before
that
he
guy
went to
goes,
Chelsea, he looked to see if there was
he
a
was
chance of
open.
coming back.
He
He
was
was open
open.
to coming back. So yeah, look, you're right. The conditions have to be completely different. But I would say, like, isn't that the same for any manager to succeed at Spurs? They can't, it
And
can't
9
be.
out of 10
Well,
times,
would it be
it doesn't
different?
really
Now,
work when
I
you go
think we're
back, does
being a
it?
bit
Let's be
too
fair.
negative in terms of the situation, because look at the amount of money that, I mean, there's two sides of this argument, right? So are we being too negative in the reference to Levy has spent a lot of money on, in the last 5 years, more than he's ever spent before.
He spent, I believe, around about 800 million. Yeah.
So if it could be that
a lot of money, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of money,
lot
and
of
it
money.
wasted as well,
Really is.
right?
For
But
us-
it could
for
be
us to
that if
be where
Poch
we are in
comes
the
in,
league
he
right
says,
now.
"You know what? I might not spend 500 million if he stays there for 5 years. I'll spend 400 million, but that's a lot more money than Poch has ever had before, in that respect." Or Poch comes in and Levy says to him, "Maurizio, I ain't going to spend a bean because I just blew 700-800 million in the last 3-4 managers." So
That's the way.
that's where,
I think the next manager.
I wasn't Paratici's
anyway, right,
biggest fan because judging, I guess I judged him by a few different metrics than other people, but it would be interesting to see Paratici and Pochettino and see what they could come up with together with Paratici's eye for setting up youth.
He's going back to Italy, Maz.
He's going to Milan,
I think Paratici is going back to Italy this summer. I think
he's
his
going to
contract.
Milan, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he's linked with AC Milan, but whether it happen or not depends. But he's been spoken about going back to Italy. So
Poch needs a good director of football. He needs a good director of football.
Yeah, this is what I mean, and this is
the network needs to be better than what currently is. But,
and quite possibly that's right, with Paratici and him linking up together. And if he comes, who knows what whether like Romero goes, all right, well, I know how he plays and I know the style of football he plays. I'll be comfortable with him.
There has to be a proper proper structured turnaround this summer. It's not just a question of bringing a manager in. I think
we say this every summer, Ricky.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, you cannot expect to keep. Yeah, you cannot. But then if that doesn't happen, then if that doesn't happen, you expect your best players. You expect your best players to be either making their own exit, or they'll have the La Liga. They'll have many teams coming after them. You've already seen the links with Bentancur. It's been reported already. There's links. Romero, how long have we been speaking about him looking to
Real
get out
Madrid,
of here?
wasn't it?
Yeah, Real Madrid for one. You got Bentancur's been linked, heading elsewhere. So spoken about online everywhere. So, how long till they start coming and looking at Van der Ven, maybe Romero and Van der Ven as a.
This is why we need a new manager that can get a tune out of them.
This
and
is
make
why
them think
Ancelotti has said, I'll take them both because he probably needs two centre backs at Real Madrid.
Iggy,
so,
Marco Silva, right? I just want to run a couple of names, right? So they're currently 8th in the league. They're 4 points off the Champions League spot. They are 2 points off of Europa. They're in the mix for Europe. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they're in the FA Cup still.
Fulham.
I believe Fulham is, yeah. Let me check. FA Cup draw. Yep, they've got Crystal Palace. And they're still in the FA Cup. They're in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. So they're having a good season. By the way, this is Fulham we're talking about. Let me just read some of the names, players he's signed that are working for him. Adama Traore, Alex Iwobi, Emil Smith-Rowe, Willian, Ryan Sessegnon, who scored a banger against us, Carlos Vinicius. Guys, these are rejects. Bernard Leno. These are players that other clubs simply didn't want. And they play for him, and he's getting a tune out of them. And then he's getting really good performances out of Jimenez, Pereira, Robinson, Muniz, Bassi, Harry Wilson. Guys, These aren't big names. These
Robinson's
aren't
a good
household
player, man.
names that
I've
you'd
wanted him.
associate. He's
I've wanted
brought
him
them
at
to
Spurs for a
Fulham.
while.
We can say what we want. He's developing players. He's got a system and it's working for these players. Some of these players have been trash at other clubs. So
still,
I think we're underestimating how good Marco Silva's been this season.
You know, I think he's done. I think he's been better than Frank and Iriola, if I'm honest, this season. He's impressed me more anyway. But what I would say is, he comes into an environment like Spurs. I don't think he's doing the same things. I don't think that Levy
It's
will
the
bring in those
environment that's
players.
wrong, Maz.
Yeah,
then it's
exactly.
the environment that's wrong. It's not the manager that's no good. It's
A
the
lot of those
environment they're
clubs
coming
trust
into.
the manager,
But we're picking a manager for the environment and the team, aren't we, Iggy?
So who's right for this environment, Maz?
Well, I've said this before, Iggy. Right?
Conte.
You either bring in a manager that's got a pair of balls on them, right, and that can stand up to the leadership and blow things up when they need to blow things up. Because that's what all the fans told me about Ange. Oh, you wait and see. If he doesn't get his way, he's going to walk out and leave. What has he done? Parroted everything that Levy's told him to. He's drunk the Kool-Aid. He's the biggest ultimate yes man I've ever seen in my life. So
we should go for that. We should go for that Conte geezer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he'd give it to Levy, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I'll tell you something.
I'm going to call it. Would you have Iggy?
Right here and right now? If you bring someone like Conte and things don't work out, he's going to blow up and
love to,
and everything down.
I would love to see him in a press conference.
When we I never forget when Conte first come. Iggy said, "You know when he's going to leave because he'll let you know." So what do you mean? You'll know.
Everything behind him on flames. I said, "You'll know when he leaves. Don't worry. He's going to take everyone down with him."
Mate, that day, Iggy messaged me. He goes,
"You know,
has he told you? Has he told you?" I was like, "Yeah, he told me."
After that Southampton, I messaged
what
him.
What a day that was, guys!
After that, I said, "We've got an international break, 2 weeks." I said, "You're not going to see him for the next game. That's it. It's done. Finished." I said, "That's it. It's done." And
what a day that was.
Mate, that line, 20 years, one trophy, same owner, but why? I was like, yeah.
But that's why I said I don't think right that Silva, Frank, or Iriola are going to cut it at Spurs. The environment is wrong. Now, let's say
so we're writing off Thomas Frank as well. We're saying no to him as well.
I don't think he plays the right football.
I would take him.
Yeah, but what football is Frank going to bring to Spurs?
I agree with Maz on this. I think fans will turn on his football. I think they'll turn on his football.
And Frank needs good defenders. If he doesn't, is he going to get a tune out of Udogie, Porro, VDV if he stays fit?
You look at all these players that we're talking about: VDV, Romero, Bentancur, Maddison, Vicario, and so on and so on. And you're appointing someone like Thomas Frank, with all due respect, are they going to be buzzing, mate?
Nah, this is it. This is.
So we'd have to say see you later and bring on hold young players.
I want to list another manager, right? This manager is 2 points off of the Champions League. He's in the FA Cup quarter-final. He's in the European places. He has lost less games than Nottingham Forest, Chelsea, Man City, Newcastle, and he's above Thomas Frank, Marco Silva, and he's above Thomas Frank. He's young, plays good football. Fabian Hürzeler, the Brighton manager. He is doing the business. He had a little purple patch, but he recovered. He's had a lot of injuries as well this year, but he's bounced back. Unlike
Ange,
never
know though. It's his first season though. That's the thing, isn't it? Or is it his second season?
You never know. But one thing he's proven is he can bounce back from a difficult situation, and he's Brighton have bounced back. We're still waiting for the bounce. We're still waiting for the recovery. He's recovered. And
2 years. We've been waiting since their first 10 games.
10 games the last season. We've been waiting for the bounce.
I've been waiting for the bounce back. It's never come.
I've had 2 Christmas dinners. I'm still waiting. I've had 2 Christmas dinners. Oh my Lord. The thing is, and don't forget, we went to his stadium with a full squad, 2-0 up, and he turned it on us. He flipped it on us, partly Ange's fault, but he did the business. So is he potentially a really, really good manager in the making? Like really good, you know?
Yeah, but then we had De Zerbi in that camp. That's the thing, and he's disappeared.
That's the one I wanted. I wanted him.
Yeah, because you know that he would say something.
Yeah,
see, that's I said De Zerbi last year when everyone was taking the piss out of me because I said, "What's his face?" I said,
but don't you think Hertzler's got a better
Jose
temperament about him? Don't you think Hertzler's got a better temperament about him? He's a bit more calmer than De Zerbi, maybe more suited to the Spurs environment. The one thing I will say,
no, I don't.
But maybe we need that.
I want
someone to be
managers that toe the line.
No. Managers that are just calm. Like Ange snaps at the media, snaps at the fans. I don't think Hertzler would do that. I think he'd just say, "Do you know what? We deal with it."
First 10 days, first 10 weeks. Still, everyone was loving Ange. The media was loving him. He was the darling.
Well, Robbie Williams come out.
But we came out of 5 years of depression. I think it was just relief. It was just a release valve, and then reality kicked in, and we're back in depression. That's normal, you know. The one thing I will say though that he's got a massive advantage of, which maybe some of the other managers don't have, is Brighton. The last 3-4 years in the transfer market have been outstanding. They just seem to unearth really good players.
They have an ethos about football and how they want the club to play.
And because
all of that, right?
Who made the point? I think it was Lubo actually made the point. Everyone who's ever been half decent at Spurs from a management level, we get rid of. Like Barber, he's gone to Brighton, and look what he's set up there. It's like,
maybe Barber was Levy's number 2 at one point. Man, he knows the game. He knows the game.
So it's look. I think we either reset, like proper reset, and you get a young manager like Carrigan, right, and hope that he can do something and turn into a superstar manager, or you have to get a manager with balls. That's the only way it can work. Now, I would put Pochettino in that category because he's learned and he's been around the block and he's, been at the PSGs and Chelseas. He knows how to handle himself now, I would say. And he knows, and he loves Tottenham. So you can't say no to Poch, really, in reality.
Guys, Glasner, it's not Glasner. Hertzler has only lost 6 games. Well, let's bring him up. He's on the list. Oliver Glasner. Yeah. He's won a European trophy. He did a good job when he was it Frankfurt his manager wasn't it? Frankfurt. Well, he's not quite done as well as what we thought, but listen, he lost a lot of key players. He's had injuries. He got off to an awful start. His first win was against us, obviously, of course, 1-0 at their ground. They beat us, but he's had a bit of a turnaround, and from being relegation candidates, they are now above Tottenham. They're above Tottenham. And they look like they're going to finish mid-table. So for a first season settling in, you'd have to say fair play. It's kind of not bad.
I think he's a good manager.
Do you know what? I'm going to say maybe something stupid I'm about to say, but I think would stop all these managers' progress.
A bit like all the players.
I'm seriously. I think Glasner. All the people that you just mentioned up now, I think they're on an upward trajectory in their career right now, and they're doing some brilliant things because they are at a right club, at the right environment, and there's a buzz about what's going on. That has been for Brighton, for example, there's been a buzz there for a few years, and it's an exciting project for any young and up and coming manager to take on. De Zerbi did it, and everything that follows after that, because the managers may change, but their philosophy and their project doesn't change. It's always an exciting place to go and manage. You think to yourself, as a manager, that's the kind of place you want to be. Bournemouth are going through the same sort of thing with Eddie Howe, and then followed Eddie Howe. Now they've got Areola, and that sort of project has continued. A manager that comes to us right now, forget. Just look at the situation.
It's the world on their shoulders,
big club, great following, stadiums packed every week. That's absolutely fine. But in terms of project, guys, where are we at? Where do you see a manager coming in and saying, I'm going to make a start on this, and the next manager that comes in, he's going to continue that, and it's just a constant cycle where bang, it's on an upward, on an upward way. Where do you see that happening? Where are any of these guys going to come in and say, you can see it happening, but you're going to come in and you'll see the same thing. First sort of 10, 15 games, all everyone's excited, buzzing, blah, 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 and then they'll get to a point where someone, a spanner goes in the works and something will stop. And then all of a sudden it turns toxic. And then all of a sudden pressure mounts, defeats, this, that, and the other, losing a derby, and so forth. And before you know it, he's at it out. And then all of a sudden he's fucked. He leaves the club and he's fucked. He can't get a job anywhere else. And all of a sudden that trajectory that he was on has completely come to a halt. Guys, you can see that happening to all these guys you've mentioned here, with the exception of a more experienced one like Pochettino. It might not even happen with the Aston Villa manager. I've lost his name for a minute. What's his name? The Spanish
Unai Emery.
Someone like Unai Emery and Pochettino, they're experienced, they're seasoned. You understand? They can come to a club like Tottenham, and perhaps they might do well, they might not do well, but they'll get a job elsewhere. But these up and coming managers, they will come unstuck, and it was almost as if for them to do well, man.
But Poch was up and coming. Poch was up and coming.
No, but the Spurs were an exciting. They were exciting. They had a great network of, Mitchell was here, and we had a really good thing
Look
going
at the team Poch inherited. It's shocking. He inherited a shocking team.
But do you remember the organisation that we had? What was happening in training? Who's recruiting? Do you remember all of those boys? Like that we were picking exciting players, and it was that scouting net was really good as well. And where all are those guys now? What do we have at a club right now? I'm talking about in terms of football.
How else?
What's exciting?
Scouts that aren't listened to.
That's what you
data-driven model. The data doesn't make sense when you watch the players when they come in. It's like, what data did you read?
So tell me a manager that's going to come in, set a project, and is going to succeed when all of that needs to be fixed first.
I know, but we've got to have someone in charge. Someone's got to be given the job.
But you're going to get what I'm saying is going to be a rinse and repeat situation. Whatever happens, you're going to get a rinse.
Can I say there's one other guy? There's one other guy we haven't mentioned that has proven. That's proven, right? And he's, as far as I'm aware, he's not working. I said proven, Iggy. Right, proven.
God,
is this guy?
The 2 finals, man.
This guy.
Proven.
This guy. Jurgen Klopp.
That ain't happening, man.
Come on, mate. Come on. He ain't.
Why not? Hold on. Why not? Why not?
Why is he going to come?
Why?
It's a project.
Daniel Levy.
It's a project.
He's been in England. He knows Daniel Levy far too well for him to want to.
I don't think he'll manage another English club. I honestly believe he won't manage another English club.
Liverpool the money. Put him on £15 million a year.
I see him going to someone like I think Ancelotti's run at Real Madrid is going to come to an end.
Why are we saying that to Jurgen Klopp? Honestly, why are we saying that?
Because this is what will happen. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why this will happen. Let's say he came.
I don't see him going to Milan to
Hold on. Let's say he came, right? Let's say Daniel Levy went to him, and said, I'm not going to give you 15 million. I'm not going to give you 20. I'll give you 25 million a year to come. And Klopp says, right, it's a lot of money. I'm going to come. And he comes. In the first season, he's going to turn around to Levy and say, Daniel, you're going to have to sell Maddison and Solanke, get 100 million in, right? And I want to go and buy one top defender. Do you really think that Daniel Levy would do that?
Okay, that's where your argument holds strength. No, that's a good argument. I don't have a reply to that. I don't have a reply. You're right.
Well, but that's
the answer is no.
Every time he's had a problem, he's been very good with his with their recruitment team as identifying 1 or 2 players that will just change that or refresh that whole Liverpool team.
We won't spend 75 million, 80 million on 2 players, and that's the window. We won't do that. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
All those managers that you've said so far, right? And even when Iggy was explaining it, right? I have this picture in my mind. Now, at their current teams, they're able to they're allowed the freedom. They can run in the fields. They can coach their players. They can pick players that they want, the style, all of that stuff. There's all happiness happening out there, right? It comes to Tottenham. It's that ball chain latched on, chuck them downstairs. You do something with that squad. That's it. And then it all becomes doom and gloom for them. It honestly feels like it's a really heavy job, Tottenham, you know.
But surely you'd
need.
like to think that do you not think the next manager that comes to Spurs will say it hasn't worked for you, nothing's worked for you, man. And you've gone through this process of this director, this recruitment, this scout, this data driven. Listen to me, just listen to me, and we can do it. If we do it your way. See, that's the manager we need, but it's also got to be a manager that's got something about them. It can't just be a random, like another Ange who plucked from thin air.
Successful.
Iggy's going to 100% agree with me on this. We need Gattuso.
Oh my God, Naz! What planet you want?
Come on! His press conferences would be fire, mate.
Did you see what happened to that geezer?
We will become.
Gattuso.
It'll be like a WWE, one of those classic Royal Rumbles.
Brilliant! Oh, I love it. Oh, imagine how fun
leaving Gattuso cage match.
It's too volatile. Did you see that clip? Did you see that clip of him in the post-match? I thought he was going to spark the geezer out. Look, at the end of the day,
Gattuso will come to Spurs and goes, sometimes shit, sometimes shit.
Yeah, it's just terrible.
I'm out.
No. Like, realistically, what manager can come in and tell the club, you've got to listen to what I have to offer. You've got to do it the way I'm telling you. And it's got to be a manager that's got something about them, some pedigree, so fans buy into it as well.
Look,
because if Graham Potter came in, for example, if Graham Potter came to Spurs, just using him, and he said, look, I've got a plan, listen to me. Right, let's say they listen to him. The fans aren't going to buy into Graham Potter. There's no way our fan base will buy into a Graham Potter, not after what we've been through.
Right, I'm glad you brought him up. Look at Graham Potter. Look at Graham Potter. He was on an upward trajectory at Brighton. He was doing fantastic. He went to Chelsea, where things.
It was falling apart when he left, though. It was beginning to fall apart at Brighton.
Yeah, I know, but what's happened to that career of his since he left Chelsea?
He should never have gone to Chelsea. It was too toxic.
This is what I'm talking about. All those guys that you mentioned tonight. The same thing would happen. That's happened to Graham.
Okay, Iggy, then who? No, you're right, Iggy. I agree with you. I see
people in the chat have mentioned Simone Inzaghi about 10 times, right? Simone Inzaghi, there's only one reason he will come to Tottenham, and that is money. You'd have to throw so much money at him to say, here's your wages.
That's not happening. That's not happening.
But Inzaghi, those kind of managers, Inzaghi, Klopp, you have to give them shitloads of money to come.
Okay, so we've gone full circle.
We used to do Iggy.
Okay, guys.
Let's be fair. We used to pay. We paid Jose top money. We paid Conte top money.
Levy's not going to do that again, is he?
Yeah, but what's happened to those guys? They stay a couple of years.
Guys, who's the only manager you know? Who's the only manager you know? Then I'm going to bring it back full circle. Who's the only manager you know who's shown there's something about them and they've proven they can work with Levy? Who's the only one?
Poch.
It's Poch. Poch is the only one. Then, if we take on board everything you said, like JP's talking about a plan, Maz is saying, look, we ain't going to buy these 75, 80 million pound players, and then Iggy's saying, yeah, but then it's all going to go crashing down again. And then when we put all these factors into play, the only one that ticks the boxes then is Poch.
Look. We've
a serious question. Who else can do what?
Serious question.
People are saying Eric Ten Hag.
Yeah, we've said many times on
got toxic at Man United with him as well.
Every week, right? We always say if Poch came back, we wouldn't want him to come back under Daniel Levy. But he may be the only manager that can do it with Levy. Full stop. He may be the only manager that's got Levy's ear, unlike any other manager. You know, that is the truth of it, isn't it? Look, if Poch came, I would be delighted purely because of the history. And I know that he loves the club. So, you know, I can't dislike someone who I know absolutely loves the club the way he does. You know what I mean? So
Maz, have you seen up the pool of managers that we have available to us under the Enoch and Levy? How much it shrunk to a point where.
Well, I said Alonso.
insane,
Look, I said Alonso, right? But there's no chance I think he would leave to come to Spurs. Clubs someone
are
mentioned
different
Simeone in the
contextually,
thing.
aren't
There's
they?
no chance he's coming to Spurs because of Levy's reputation. Klopp will never come to Spurs. Reputation. Daniel Levy's done so much reputational damage in the last 4 or 5 years to Spurs than he's ever done in the 20 years before that with all the other managers.
You see how long, Maz, last time? How long did it take to get a manager before Ange?
Well, this is it.
It's a poison chalice because
we went like, was
we
it
have
60
burnt
days or
so
something?
many managers. We have burnt so many managers in the last sort of
Oh,
5 to 10. Honestly, our 5, 6, 7 managers, we burnt every single one of them.
I would even say Daniel Levy should go back to Jose Mourinho and say, Jose, I'm sorry. Give him loads of money and say, look, let's get you to another cup final so you can win us a cup. I mean, it's that bad at Spurs that we have to come up with these wild.
Mate, name me the last manager.
suggestions.
Pochettino aside, name me the last manager that's come in and done a really good job and left right good.
Harry
Redknapp.
Guys, very quickly, I just want to say,
how many
everyone in the
managers have we
chat,
hired since Redknapp?
very quickly, everyone in the chat, I've just started a poll. Pick your manager, and then at the end of the show, we'll see what one wins.
So Redknapp was the last one that we had, and everyone after. How many managers we had since Redknapp? And look what's happened to every single one of them.
AVB.
We have burnt them all. Burn them all. Burn
Tim
them all.
Sherwood, AVB, then Poch came, and then it was Ryan.
We burnt them all, and it's a poison chalice. Now, tell me in the right mind, who say, do you know what, that Tottenham job, Enoch and Levy, I fancy that. I want that job.
If they phone a friend, right, then they get that one phone call to phone a friend. That guy's gonna go, no.
Mate, there's only money will make you want to take this job. Honestly, anyone would. There's only two types: either up and coming, knowing fully well they're going to burn themselves, but they will earn shitloads of money, or somebody that's been at the top of their game and now they're on a downward spiral. Those are the two type of managers that we can attract.
You know who would have been good at Spurs, I think, but we missed him out by like 15 years or 10 years. Martin O'Neill. He would have been good at Spurs.
In his prime at Leicester, he was decent, man. He was decent in his prime. Can I ask you another question about Poch?
I saw Ozzy yesterday. He was still good.
I saw Redknapp on when Ben and Sim interviewed him. He looked bloody healthy. 8 years old. He looked fitter than Ange.
He didn't pick one Spurs player from our squad, our current squad. Not one.
He did.
Not a single one.
He did, but he changed his mind.
Dawson. He felt bad, didn't it? He felt bad because he's the only one he didn't pick. That was hilarious. That's the kind of loyalty you want there. Do you think in any walk of life, in any human moral compass of existence, that there's a plausible possibility that if Poch came back, Levy, out of guilt, shame, and just self-reflection, realised how he completely fucked it up sacking him, wasted 800 million on transfers and manager wages on everyone and anyone that hasn't worked, feels, do you know, I kind of owe it to you to try and help you get it right. I'm going to do my best to back you this time. Yeah. Levy. Do you think in any... Yeah, Levy. Do you think there's a bone in him that just says, do you know what? Well, this time I don't want to make that mistake I made with you again, because they do have that bond. They still do have some kind of bond, don't they?
With that, no one knows the answer, but we can, and everyone knows what Levy's like. We can only hope that's the case. We can only hope in it.
I'll tell you, it won't happen.
Yeah, well.
I'll go
let me rephrase it.
I'll go whatever the dice is. I'll say
you can have the best relationship ever when money's involved. Forget about it.
Right, JP. Hold on. Let me ask you this question then. Let me rephrase it. Let me reconstruct that. Would Poch, in order to come back, stipulate those levels of
He can.
demands in order to come back.
He can, and he can stipulate it, and he can be told, yes, you'll get it. And when he walks
No,
through
it's
the
got to be in the
door,
contract. There's got to be a contract, a legally binding agreement where someone
there'll
gets
be a way,
sued.
there will be a way for Levy to get out of it. Trust me. There will be a clause. There will be an excuse. There will be something for him to get out of it. He'll tell Poch whatever he wants, like I'm sure he told Jose whatever he wanted, like I'm sure he told Conte whatever he wanted when he signed.
All right, JP, here's one. No, here's one. I've actually got a realistic situation now.
Okay.
So Poch comes and says, I will come and fix this, but I want a minimum spend, and let's say it's realistic, 150 million a year. And he could say, you've been doing that for the others. And I want to pick the football director, just like I picked Paul Mitchell when I first came. What about that scenario? That's possible, isn't it?
It would be nice, but he's going to let him then pick.
You tried so hard to say no.
No.
You tried so hard to say no.
So the body and mind were fighting each other.
A lot of the managers can't even bring their own staff. You're going to let him come and get
because when Poch first came, he brought his football director, head scout, and he brought his coaching team. That's what I'm saying.
Since then, no one else has.
Get rid of Lange, get rid of Munn. I'm doing it my way.
I agree. That's what it means.
And the thing is, I don't think necessarily we need to spend big. We just need to implement what Conte said. Every window we bring 1 or 2 60 to 70 million pound players. If you do that,
you raise the bar every year a bit, don't you?
So every summer, let's say, right? After 3-4 years, you're only going to have spent, let's say, 300-400 million, right? And because it's over a longer period of time, and it's all spread out, it's affordable for Spurs to do that. Plus the players that you get rid of and you make money and all that sort of stuff. But Pochettino needs a good football director and team behind him. And he had Mitchell. And let's face it, when Mitchell left, that's when everything started going wrong for Poch, really.
Yeah, that's when we started signing in Kudu and Dudu and
if there is serious talk about Poch coming back, and that Levy kind of also, you hear apparently he gets on well with Paratici and stuff like that. We'll just get them together. Get the band together.
Listen, I think if we got the band back together,
if he bites the bullet with Poch, why can't he bite the bullet with Mitchell as well?
Well, it's whether Mitchell wants to come back.
Newcastle.
It's whether he comes
Newcastle now.
But I think it's a case of Pochettino. If he was to come back, and like you said, JP, get the band back together, there'd have to be a bit of a fresh twist on it as well, because we don't want it to be exactly like before. There's got to be a bit more of a twist. Maybe it's just a new football director. If we got someone like a Mitchell,
knows about football, like a football director, not a frigging finance bloke or someone who's there to.
Mun is an Excel spreadsheet analyst, and let's have it right. Lange is an apprentice. Okay, he's an apprentice. We put a rookie in charge. He's no experienced head of recruitment. So we need someone that knows that. Do you know who would have been good for that role? Is Ralph Ragniak. He would have been good for that role. Instead of being as a manager, Ralph Ragniak's never been good, but as an organizer of a football club, to do what Scott Munn's doing for us, Ralph Ragniak is actually excellent. He's a fantastic footballing brain when it comes to that side of the things. But
now,
isn't he the manager of Austria? Isn't he the manager of Austria?
Yeah.
But whoever they get in, it's got to be Poch that picks it. That's kind of. Do we agree on that? Poch has to pick these people.
100%.
Listen, man, I just don't. I feel like a broken record. I feel like I've always put a negative spin to it, but these owners, man, it's just. I think that's the fresh start has to be there, man. The fresh start. Something has to change there. Yeah, that's what
It needs that clean cut, doesn't it?
Yeah, man, a
Like,
clean
from top
break
to
has to
bottom
be
kind of
there.
thing.
It's like I can't get. You know what the problem is? Like, I can't get excited about any of the managers that we've spoken about tonight, including Poch. I can't get even excited about the prospect of Poch coming back without the fear of him being burnt again. Do you know what I mean? I feel like any of the new managers were going to burn their careers, or we're going to stop their journey early by by just doing what we've done with all the managers. I fear for Pochettino coming back because I don't want to see happen to him what
It's
happened to him
going to
the
be
first time around.
Ange position
And that's I just can't see anything but that happening
happening. Yeah.
under these owners. And that for me, could you imagine having to see Pochettino
Write another note.
another 2, 3 years, 4 years down the line, thinking, "Man, he's done it again," and that for me is why I cannot get excited about any new prospect, whether it's an up and coming exciting manager, an experienced manager, even Pochettino. I can't get excited about any of them because I just don't see the outcome being
Then-
any different to what's
Then,
previously happened.
Then, Mr. Iggy, the only alternative is Ange.
Oh God, no! Oh God, no! Oh God, no!
That's it, right? That's it.
The problem is I can't even predict what's going to happen anymore with Spurs. I was
Tim
well.
Sherwood.
Ange should have got sacked by Christmas or January. He didn't. They've stuck with him. They've stuck with him. They've stuck with him. And we're in such a mess now. I can't even predict what's going to happen with Spurs. I haven't got a clue.
Frigging Europa game, isn't it? No,
I don't even. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he loses that and they keep him. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he loses that. We get tonked by who is
Maz. I think he's going to stay. I think
Yeah.
Ange's going to be here next season.
Yeah.
I do. I've got a bad feeling.
Because we've had that, you know what? It's not a bad thing to say because at the end of the day, he's had so many chances to sack him, so many valid reasons to sack him, and we haven't. So maybe there's something more to it than that. So yeah, and to be honest with you, like fans have moaned about it, but I haven't seen a proper like. Everyone wants Ange out, like really, it's got really bad. Everyone wants Ange out, and everything. It's more been what I've seen from fans this season generally is more like pointing the fingers towards Levy and his owners.
It shifted. It has shifted
a bit. So there's not really a max, like in the past we've said, "Oh, we'd get him out of our club." It hasn't been that. There hasn't been like this heavyweight sort of mass protest to get Ange Postecoglou out, even though there's been given so many lifelines, and also he's been this season. His record speaks for itself, like 15 losses. Managers have gone for less, but there hasn't been fans haven't turned towards him.
Iggy, I think that's because of two reasons. One, there's definitely a lot more eyes on Levy this time. By the way, protest 6th of April. This whole channel, we will all be there for that one. Everyone's going to be coming to that. It's going to be bigger than before. Hopefully 4,000. More details will come close to the time.
Come out for that.
What's that, JP?
Yeah. I have a banging tune coming out tomorrow for that.
We've got a banging tune coming out for the protest tomorrow on this channel.
There's a lot of people going to that protest, whether they're going to the game or not.
There's a lot of people going to it.
Yeah.
Brian Daigle will be in the UK for that one as well. The other thing I was going to say,
to the game, he's going to the protest.
Yeah, he's coming for the protest. The other thing I was going to say, I also think there's a lot of fans who are misguided, and it is delusion, who are sick and tired of changing managers, and they're using that as their go-to line. But the issue I have with that is, stop changing managers as long as you hire the right manager. And this manager hasn't proven he's the right one. If he doesn't win the Europa, we will finish this season 14th or 12th or 16th. And 2 years on from when he came, we finished 8th and no Europe. £400 million spent later, 2 years on, we'll be 14th and no Europe. He would have taken us backwards, having spent almost £500 million. That is unacceptable.
That's a joke, isn't it?
You can't keep saying you can't keep sacking managers when we're going backwards.
Well,
That can't be
I've
right.
spoken a lot on this specific subject, but I want to give a different view. They weren't, they were happy to keep changing managers for the last 16, 17 before. And they were happy to change managers with managers that had proven quality before. So now we're playing the worst football that we've potentially seen at Spurs for a very long time, with a manager that's got the worst statistics that we've seen for a very long time, with a manager that's de-developed players, so made them all go into remission in terms of quality and form and confidence that we've seen over any other manager for a very long time. Now they don't want to change. Now they want to stick with him. How about when it was Jose or Pochettino or Conte, who actually had merit for us to, for the fan base to be like that? How about doing that then? But no, they want to do it now.
So Conte's the manager you wanted to fight for, isn't it?
I keep coming back to it because
you would put in that basket.
but,
you would go.
Fans felt
there.
Fans felt that he hated the club, though. A lot of fans felt he hated the club.
No, he didn't hate the club.
That's how fans felt, Maz. A lot of fans did feel that way.
Didn't want to be there and stuff.
They didn't understand that what he was saying. It's like a father to a child, right? He was saying things for our own good, to set us straight for the future. But the fans took it as, he thinks he's too good for us. Yes, he was too good for us, right? He was one of the most sought after elite European managers. He could have gone to near enough any club he wanted. But he chose to come to Spurs after some persuading. Obviously, money helps, right? And he came here with the ambition to win. Conte doesn't join a club without knowing that he's going to win. So he came to Spurs. He brought his winning mentality with him. He set things straight where he felt that things needed to be straight. He blew things up at the end, but we didn't back him. And that juncture, for me, I mean, Stella and I always talk on about it. They had the choice, the fan base, right? You accept the lesson that he's giving you, you accept the truth, and you back him. Or you carry on believing Levy's lies. And what did they do? They believed Levy's lies. And now we're in this perverse situation where they want Ange to stay because they don't want to keep changing managers. It's sick. It's actually like sickening to think about. What a weird, deranged situation we're now in. Rant over.
Mate, I totally agree. This is something we've been saying for a whole year on this channel. We've been saying when we should have backed managers that had proven themselves and put credit in the bank, we turned on them. Now we've got a manager in charge who's failing and it's just an absolute shambles. We want to back him. We want more. This is the definition of accepting mediocrity. This is accepting mediocrity being played out by the Spurs fan base.
What's that saying? Is it like locking the door after the horse is bolted, kind of thing?
After the cars are bolted.
It's like now that that Conte's gone, I think everyone realizes, okay, yeah, we should have done that. We should have done that. Let's do that, right? But now the new manager's come in. It's obviously not to that level in any way whatsoever, and shouldn't be the manager that you keep locked in the stable.
No, but you know what the amazing thing about Conte as well, basically, right, was he even said, this is how you build a brilliant team. You buy 1 or 2 60 to 70 million pound players, proven quality, every window. This is how you do it.
Formula.
Here's the formula. This is how I win. Right? And what does Levy do? No, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to rip it all up and start again. I'm going. The football director that came in to fix everything. Let me rip that all up, sack everyone. So this is the first sign of trouble. Get rid of it all, and then start again with some unproven, unknown manager from.
I'll give you long gap.
Scotland. Yeah, it's deranged.
What was his name from Cardiff? Who was that? Rodon.
Yeah, and I know what I'm going to do. Not only am I going to get a manager, right, that has only won in leagues that no one cares about. I'm also going to let him bring his own coaches that no one even knows, and they're all failures. And you know,
I'm going to give him 400 million.
It's honestly, this situation is so ridiculous.
And he's giving him 400 million to spend.
Yeah, and he's yeah.
Do you know what? You can't write it. You can't write this.
James Cook in the chat says we should make a show, just call it Levy's Lies. All right, and it could be like this soap opera of what just happened like now.
That sounds like a Netflix show, doesn't it? Levy's Lies.
Yeah.
Series 1, episode 3. And this week, Daniel Levy convinces Ange that he's got enough players, doesn't need to spend any more money. The fans are unhappy. There's protests outside the stadium. All is not well at Tottenham, but nothing will change.
Oh dear. Anyway,
well, look, we'll see what happens. I think everyone's just waiting to see what happens with this Europa Cup now, regarding whether the manager goes or stays. I think what we're waiting for to see is if we crash out of the Europa Cup, will Ange get fired or not?
Are they going to do anything? Yeah.
Are they going to do anything? Because if not, then brace for impact. He's going to be here next season. But if the unthinkable happens and we win the Europa, then he's definitely going to be here for quite a while.
You're loving him. You're going to say sorry.
If we win the Europa, I will be Ange in for 1 year, 100%. I will honour that. I will honour that. But you know my stance. We're not winning the Europa. There's no way we're going to get past the next 3 teams, all of them, and get it right in every single game. I don't see it. But we're going to find out. All the pressure's on Ange now. And Levy's going to have to make a decision at some point. Before we go, very quickly, the poll. Let's see the results of the poll. I can get it up. There it is. No, I put other. I put choosing new manager for Spurs. So Ange wasn't new. Poch got 42%.
I'll have the other, please. No.
Well, the other came a close third. So Poch got 42%. Poch 42%. Iriola 29%. Other 24%. Silver 5%. So look, Poch is the big favourite with our audience tonight. They're the one they'd like to see come back to Spurs. We'll see what happens. It's a long shot as well to bring back Poch because he is in a contract with the USA men's team. You know, Levy's going to have to pay off that contract unless they sack him. If he keeps losing for USA, they might just sack him. He might get the sack. That'll look good on the CV.
It'd be interesting to hear Mari and see what he says about Poch and the way it's happening there at the moment. Because as you say, if they're losing the last couple of games and stuff.
Right. So in our group chat, Steve, who's American but supports Newcastle, and TJ, who's American but supports Arsenal, they are slamming Poch left, right, and centre. They're cussing him, get him out. Whereas Mari, he's defending Poch, and he's saying that the setup is all wrong for him. So I feel there's an allegiance and a bias going on there because of the teams they support in England. That's the way it comes across to me. But yeah, listen, next time Mari's on, we'll get him to explain to us what's going on with Poch and Team USA. All right, boys and girls, we're going to wrap it up. There's not really that much to talk about at the moment. We'll be back next Monday previewing the upcoming games. We've got 2 big games coming up in a row. We've got Chelsea midweek. The following Thursday, we'll be discussing that away to Stamford Bridge. We know how that normally goes down. And then a few days later, we've got Southampton at home, but it's going to be a big protest change for Tottenham. I'm going to try and get Jay and Billy T back on the show before the protest so we can discuss and they can explain what's going on. JP, in the club shop, are we sending any Levy out T-shirts or scarves or anything? Or change for Tottenham?
We've got all the ones that we've been wearing. They're all in our shop.
Oh, time for change.
Yep.
Right, if anyone's going to be coming to the protest in a couple of weeks' time, go onto the club shop. I've got a link somewhere here. JP's designed some protest T-shirts and change for Tottenham T-shirts. I think I've got a link somewhere.
See that still?
Just open the site quickly.
He's going to put a link in the chat, I imagine, or
Sorry, guys, I keep getting kicked out of the stream. I did have a link to the shop somewhere here. Oh well.
Why don't you put it in the first comment?
Put it in the
Put it
description
in
of
the first
of the
comment.
video.
The description of the video or in the first comment, you'll find it.
Yeah, I've got it here. Hold on. I've got the. I should really save it on the back end so I can easily.
Someone thinks beating you to
Marks has done it.
Oh, cheers, Mark. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, if you want to get the change for Tottenham stuff, JP's got it on our club shop.
There's loads in there: t-shirts, vests.
How long does the delivery take, JP?
It takes about, I think. Man, shut your ears. It takes. I see. I mean, if you're in the UK, it's like 2-3 days or something, but you can get it delivered the next day delivery or whatever it is. But you have to pay a little bit extra for that.
All right, so order a week or 5 days before the protest, the latest, if you want to have the t-shirt for it. We'll be back next Monday. I don't think there's any shows planned for this week, if I'm honest with you guys, because there's not really much to talk about. And all we're going to do is end up repeating what everyone else is talking about. But we'll definitely be back next Monday. We'll be live on the Thursday. We're doing a watch-along and then a post-match show. On the Sunday, there won't be a watch-along, but there will be a post-match show because I'm actually going to be at the stadium, so no watch-along. We'll get you some footage of the protest. Of course, we will. Otherwise, thanks for watching as always. Leave your comments after the show. Tell us who you think will be the next manager. Maybe you think Ange will be here. Who knows? We'll find out. But Iggy, thanks for coming on as always, man.
Cheers, man. Peace and love.
I don't even know why I'm laughing. Big up to Iggy. JP, big up to you as well, man.
Any way to go out, right? Peace and love.
Peace and love. Maz, peace and love, man.
Peace and love. And get your super chats in case we go away. But we'll be back next week. But get them in anyway.
Peace and love to all of you. And if anyone disagreed with me tonight, you'll all see you next Tuesdays and shut your gobs and all that stuff. Yeah. Peace, man. Peace. All right.
Be real fans.
Everyone.
Make sure you're real fans.
Yeah, be a real fan. Support your team. Support the players, especially the rubbish ones. Make sure you support them. Very important.
Roll on tomorrow's video.
Oh, yeah. Check out tomorrow. JP's going to be dropping some kind of music video. So make sure you check that one out.
And check out our new channel, Man City Away.
See you later. We're out of here. Peace. Have a good one.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.